Hey everyone, I want to show you in this video why I'm doubling down on Palantir. I have some good news and I have some bad news, but let's get into it and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. First of all, the market just recently opened. So far, as you can see, we are slightly green, which is great, all nice and dandy. As you can tell, we've been moving along, the price action has been moving along within this trend that you currently see on the screen for quite a while. We've tested the 20 level just recently. We have derived these levels from long ago, in fact, from during the pandemic times. And now we finally got to retest these levels, and I want to show you why I want to double down, although just to kind of throw a little monkey wrench into the situation is the fact that we have Nvidia reporting earnings today. I'm not going to break down Nvidia, this is a whole separate video, but my expectation is for the price to drop severely today. No, I'm not implying the price will drop around 32, maybe 33% in just merely today. It potentially could happen, but I'm not saying it will. In fact, I'm saying it's probably going to be a gradual process, but I do believe today we're going to see the beginning of the correction. In fact, we can see the price action has reached its limits to what my assessment of the current channel is. In fact, it stretched this channel completely out of bounds, and it is more than due for a correction. Now, this video is about Palantir, so let's focus on Palantir. Palantir has its own channel. It's been riding this very nice trend for quite a while. If you've been attentive to the stock at all, you would have known that we have made in the recent, since December 22nd and December last year, we have rose up 241%, right, is just as you can see right here. We basically climbed up all the way from the lows of $5.92, as you can see right here, all the way to testing the 20. Now, we've already seen a correction, and I'm telling you that the entire sector and everything that is AI related might take a beating today, simply backed upon Nvidia's potential failure on the earnings today. And even if they will come up with relatively normal results, that's not enough. They have to have a significant beat of these earnings to justify their current price. Let alone this current price of Nvidia, again, is predicated on them saying they will go into CPUs back in the pandemic days, and saying that they will start working on a foundry, which they even have not chosen a location for. In other words, this is just noise. So the price currently is not justified. With that in mind, knowing that Palantir might take quite a beating because it's sector related and it is still does not leave in a vacuum, that means we still might have a significant correction on the overall market. That means we might be testing at least those 1354, again, levels that are derived from before. More so, I'll tell you that the current support, that the current actual, this is basically strong but not strong enough. This will not hold us if the entire market is taking a beating, especially this particular sector. I want you to be aware that the worst case scenario, in my humble opinion, is $11. I do not think it's very likely. In fact, I do believe that even if the market will take a beating, Palantir will correct to this level and will potentially hold quite well. My own assessment is in the near-term future, relatively rapidly within this wedge formation that you can see currently, sort of emphasize, I mean, this particular area, right? We will be testing that 1742, as you can see right here, as we've tested before, but this time I believe we will be successful. and now keep our floor as this 17, and more so very rapidly. I do believe that within the next following months, especially if we're talking about September, we are more likely than anything, in my opinion, to test the 20 area, which you can see right here on the screen. I know it's slightly deviated, but that's another level that is around. You also have the psychological, which is the flat 20, and this is these levels are correlated. I'm not going to break down why here in this video, but I will tell you that I'm actually doubling down on Palantir. In my own assessment, what you've seen so far is essentially a correction on the downside. For every movement in the market, you often see a certain trend, a certain movement, an establishment of a certain support, if it's a channel, if it's a level, and then, of course, you start to have a correction on that downside. Beyond that correction, I expect the market to have its own rally. If you followed my videos, I'm talking about 4,800 on the SPX towards Q1 24. And it will be felt before the end of this year again, meaning we're potentially going to test 4,600, 4,700 before the year ends. So, with that in mind, and the hype of the current AI bubble, so called, which maybe in another video I'll explain why I don't think this is a bubble at all. And I do believe that even if we will see some form of a correction, we will be finally breaking through this trend that we've been holding on to for a very, very long time. This is our diagonal resistance that is correlated to the COVID days. And in my own humble opinion, we might see even higher levels that we heard from Dan Ives, which I tremendously admire. And I recommend everybody to go and check out. Tom made an interview with Dan Ives, who, first of all, is an amazing analyst and has an amazing sense of style. Props to Dan, amazing legend. And I will increase my own target price to these levels, to the 26.95, or in other words, if you feel a little bit more comfortable, I do believe with the correct momentum, we're obviously going to test the 27. Okay, they are just that much close, and 27 will end up being a psychological level. So I know that right now we're that much far away, and it's really hard to accept the reality of how are we going to get there that rapidly. But I will emphasize that majority of the rally that we've seen so far was predicated on the large caps. The small caps have been following behind. Now, I'm not gonna break down the fundamentals, at least in this video. I'll probably make a dedicated video of why I think Palantir is inevitable and literally gonna be an integral part of everybody's future. And there's a good reason why companies like BMW kept it a secret for a long, long time and didn't want their competition to know exactly why they're doing so well. So Palantir is a tool that everybody will be able to use streamlining their business. I'm not even talking about the side that works with the government. I'm merely talking about the public sector. So, in my humble opinion, Palantir is inevitable. But beyond that, on the technicals, we can see that beyond the trend is going downwards on the weekly, and obviously, usually I recommend following the longer term trend, but you need to also be able, aware, and recognize when that trend is finally about to be broken. So, as I was saying, in my opinion, this time our daily chart shows us very clearly how we're going to be breaking the levels that correlate with the same levels right here on the monthly, and essentially finally breaking through to this level and establishing a new trend, which already is in the works and have been in the works for quite a period of time. All right. But this one time, I do believe with the market conditions and with the AI buzz and hype, if you will, that we're having, Palantir, and with its momentum, Palantir is capable of pushing through. And finally, we're going to see this trend taking control beyond, and we'll see it come to fruition even on the monthly chart. So with that in mind, guys, I'm not telling you that we're gonna achieve these 2695 levels tomorrow. Obviously, this is going to be a very gradual process, but in my opinion, we are going to be seeing and testing towards these levels, maybe testing 24, 25 before the end of the year. Yes, you heard me correctly. I do believe that before the end of the year, before we reach Q1 24, we will be testing 24.9 or 25 levels, if you will. So essentially, if you really want to draw a path of what my expectation is, it would be something akin to this. Again, it's going to be gradual, it's not going to be linear. It probably will be doing something more akin to this, but eventually we will end up before the end of the year towards these levels, which essentially correlate with Dan Ives' targets. But in my own assessment, we will also continue and even test at Q1 the 27 levels. Okay? And with that in mind, guys, I hope I was able to provide you some valuable information about Palantir and where we're headed, in my own opinion. Remember, this is not financial advice. And yeah, do your own due diligence and, make your own decisions. There is one thing, guys, that I will request you to do. If you could do me a gigantic favor, I'm trying to build up my community up to 1,000 people before the end of the year. I would tremendously appreciate it if you spread around the great knowledge and the great videos that I'm trying to share here with everybody. Share the links with your friends, that might find this interesting. Uh, you know, press the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that wonderful stuff that YouTube wants us to do, so the algorithm will like my videos and will give them to more people to watch. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I hope you're gonna all have a wonderful weekend, guys. And remember, do not get too worried about everyday market movements. They happen all the time. So stay calm and see you next